Potentially. There we go. Hello, we're live. Welcome back to another episode of Hey, What's Your Problem? My name is Caroline, and this is my co host,
Munif, how are you today, Caroline?
Munif. I am great. If you guys are watching us right now, you'll see I'm a little bundled up. I got up pretty early this morning and we did a sunrise hike. And I was just telling Munif before we came live on this recording that he's like, oh my gosh, I love your hoodie. I'm like, I got things. I got it for Christmas. I'm wearing it all the time. I feel like it's all anybody's gonna see me in, but it's chilly here. I mean, I'm in Arizona. I was like, it's like 46 degrees here. And then he just told me, yeah, it's 22 where I am. So I was like, yeah, I mean, it's cold for me. But yeah, no, thank you. I had a great morning. We did a hike. I think we went around like 2.5 miles, got to see the sunrise, and just got to do a little bit of self reflection. So I'm having a great start to my Sunday. What about you? What have you been up to today? I know it's 12 o'clock where you are.
I spent the morning, so I'm taking care of my neighbor's lizard, and I spent the morning cleaning out his tank, vacuuming the tank, disinfecting it. I gave the lizard a bath. The lizard's name is Ash. I love him, and so I gave him a bath, and um, yeah, so it was just a great, relaxing morning, just taking care of this little buddy. It was nice.
I love it. I see Jennifer Shelton's watching us too. Good morning,
Hi,
Jennifer.
Jen. Good morning.
This is our podcast is called Hey, What's Your Problem? And Munif, this is my problem. I'm trying to really focus on like producing more content than consuming because as a consumer, that's not unless it's like something that's helping me in my journey at the moment, it's not doing anything for me. If I just sit and consume a lot of TikTok or Instagram, or I didn't even watch the news, but when I was watching the news or whatever it be, Snapchat at the time when it was going on, I was stuck in this ever revolving door of just sitting and consuming and not doing anything about it. And I mean, you know how the news is now. You're just kind of like, gosh, it's so depressing. There's not anything that's really good out there. I guess we got a lot of people on here. Good morning, everybody. And I wish I could have talked to my past self, my younger self sooner and just been like, listen, focus on personal development. And I think that's kind of been like the theme of what we've been talking about, because when we started this podcast, it was like we didn't want it to only be real estate based. I know that's what we're focusing on. That's what we're doing for our own businesses, but we wanted it to be available to like anybody for any kind of problem. And I think like I talk about this, I feel like a broken record, and because I bring up the same things. I'm talking to newer people that have just joined the mentorship that we're in and like how to get started. And I really wish I would have gotten into personal development sooner. So, Munif, my problem is I wish I would have gotten into development sooner. How have you gone about making yourself better, focusing on yourself first before helping other people? Because I know that's something that we've struggled with. We have so many people reaching out to us asking for, 10 minutes of our time, which is actually, about 30 to 45 minutes with all of the questions. So,
Right.
how have you focused on yourself first? What would you say to, younger Munif so you could be more advanced?
That's a really good question. Well, so we can't change the past. We can't go ahead
Mhm.
and start our journey sooner. There's like a saying, like an Eastern Asian saying that's something along the lines of the best time to plant a tree was actually 10 years ago, but the
Yeah.
second best time to plant a tree is actually right now. And really, like, whatever age you are now, right? 10 years from now, you're going to go, man, I really wish I did this, this, and this 10 years ago. Right. And so it's like, well, what
Mhm.
are those things? What are those things? What do you want to do? I saw a um, video of a woman. She said, what if, you lived your life and then you died and you went to heaven and then you actually met your potential self, that potential self, that all the things you could have been if you stayed focused, stayed committed, stayed true to your core values, did the difficult things in life, that potential self, what kind of person would that be? Who would you meet and how would you feel? And not to get too esoteric, but that's something I like to think about.
Yeah.
And so you asked me a question. You said, Manif, how do you keep time to yourself for personal development? There's all kinds of time sucks, right? Where people are like, hey, like the phone starts ringing for me at 7 in the morning. I start getting texts, emails, phone calls. I mean, for you, Caroline, it's actually 5 in the morning, right? For you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how do you carve out time in your day? Well, so that's a great question. There's three options, right? And I've experimented with all three. So one is stay up really late, where it's like it's okay. People think you're sleeping, but you're actually working. You're doing self development.
Mhm.
I like doing that sometimes. Sometimes I like to do that. Sometimes I just work late or whatever. And if people text me or call me and I don't respond, they think I'm asleep. The second option is get up really, really early before anybody else is and work on your self development then. And people people are asleep typically, so you're not going to have to worry about missing calls or texts or alerts. The third option is actually it's quite difficult. It's to do something in the middle of the day during normal business hours. I don't really like the third option much because you miss a lot of opportunities. Like you'll miss opportunities, and it's okay to miss opportunities, but it's like, man, if I maybe just have a little bit more discipline, I can do both. I cannot miss my opportunities during the day, and then maybe I stay up a little later, or I wake up a little earlier and I take care of my personal development.
I'm on that. I love that because I do the exact same thing. I have tried to do development stuff in the middle of the day, and then I get anxious actually because I'm like, oh my gosh, I could be on the phone solving a problem. Oh my
Right.
gosh, I could be talking to somebody else that's in the same shoes as me. Um, I guess what I also am curious about, because I personally I get up early in the day and I
Right.
do about 90% of those tasks that need to happen for my personal development. And then right before bed, I've been doing visualizations, which has been really great. And we talked about that the last episode and how I kind of had a breakthrough while giving myself 10 minutes to really visualize, and just seeing like I don't have to do all the 20 things that are on my vision board. If I focus on one goal at a time, the rest of them will kind of fall into place. Now, I guess what I wish I would have like told, and you can't, a man convinced against his will is of the same opinion. So we hear that all the time. I guess when did you start to focus on doing personal development? So for me, it was when I started getting into real estate and joining mentorships and seeing like, oh my gosh, like people are making, $300,000 a month. Like there's opportunities to be making a ton of money where you have passive income coming and you just have to be organized. So and that's the whole reason, again, I did the 75 hard because I'd start something and I'd be like, okay, this is great. And then it'd get hard. And I'm like, oh gosh, I'm uncomfortable. I really don't like this. And let me quit. Let me go back to what I know, what I'm used to, and what's easy for me. So when did you kind of do a flip in this, when did a switch flip in your head that made you think of, okay, I need to because I know that you have a life and business coach.
Mhm.
When did all these things come to realization for you? And how did you start focusing on that more to be, I mean, you now have Ninja Acquisitions. You have a ton of people that are depending on you. Like you're the boss, quote unquote, for those of you that are listening. And I'm doing air quotes here. You're the boss, but like really, when you were the boss of a company or an organization, you work for the people. And I feel like sometimes it's sad, but we see companies or places forget that, and they have to let everybody go because they get so out of their mind with ego or whatever it is. So how are you staying grounded, and when did you decide to get into personal development, and why?
So as you know, and some of our viewers know, I recently resigned from my full-time day job as a
I
cybersecurity
know.
and
Wait, hang on. We can't just glaze over that. Let me rewind here, guys. Munif how long have you had this? How long did you have this W-2 position?
6 years.
6 years. Okay. And for everybody that's listening for the first time or you don't know, like we are both in a real estate mentorship. Munif joined about 6 months in. He got into the Closers Olympics, got second place, had never done any of this before. And he's now able, by going into real estate, he's able to quit his 6-figure W-2 job. I don't want to glaze. I want everybody to really understand the gravity of this. Like Munif was very comfortable. I mean, safe to say, right? You were making enough money where, I mean, that's pretty good money from what you were making. And now you're doing real estate full time. So let's not glaze over that. I just really wanted to reiterate, like, guys, find what you're passionate about and you are going to get even better returns and fill your cup up more and make more money in what you're doing. So, okay, that was Friday. Was that Friday that you quit your W-2?
Yeah, that was Friday.
Oh my gosh. 2 days ago. Okay. So go on.
2 days ago.
You resigned from your W-2.
So, you asked me about being a leader or a boss with air quotes. And one of the first things I did is I called up members of my team and I said, guys, I resigned. Um, but guess what? I get to work for you full time now. Because as a leader, you work for your team. Your team doesn't work for you. You work for your team. Your job is to get your team what they need to be successful. If your team is unsuccessful, you are failing. That's your job. Don't ever get that confused. Your job is to make sure your team is successful and set them up for success and get them what they need.
I love that because there's another thing that I've read. Again, guys, I know this is, if you're listening, this is going to be repetitive because I've been talking about this Miracle Morning book for so long. But like when you become a leader or when you really want to make a change in your life, you have to take 100% responsibility. Like it all falls back on you at the end of the day. And I think that's so great because I can see that in you. Actually, on the hike this morning with Marlon Johnson, who has another great podcast.
I love Marlon.
Into the Mind. We were talking about that. We're like, I love the whole ninja acquisitions because you're all equals and like you really do take responsibility and you want the best for your company. And that is very apparent. So I wanted to just touch on that too, guys. Like when you're ready to make a change, you have to be accountable. And you're the only, like, you can have a partner like Munif and I are doing the Miracle Morning 30-day challenge together. But like at the end of the day, it comes back to you. Like that's why you restarted the 75 hard phase 1 again, because you didn't feel like you were hitting it. My camera's over here and I can see you on the monitor over here. So if it looks like I'm like, what am I looking at? I'm actually looking at your face when I'm trying to talk to the camera. But I think that's really cool. So I just want to touch on that while you're talking about taking ownership, guys. When you're ready for a change, there's no more excuses. You can't blame other people. It comes back onto you. And that's something that I didn't realize soon enough. I'd always blame other things. Well, I can't start a podcast. I don't have this cool microphone. I don't have a sweet studio. I can't start making calls to sellers because I don't have a really nice CRM. I can't go door knocking because I don't have a car or whatever it may be. I can't start taking care of my health because I don't have enough money to buy good groceries. Dude, there's a market right down the road from me that they sell like fresh produce for a fraction of the cost. Like if you're determined to do something, you'll find a way to make it happen.
Yeah, so, of course.
Sorry guys, there's my ADD tangent. Let me bring it back over to you, Munif. So you're taking ownership now. Everything is dependent on you because you work for your team.
Right. And you asked me, when did like self-development start for me? When did I start working on myself? Like really early, like in college. Like I was like 18 or 19. Miracle Morning.
I'm just sharing this for everybody.
Yes, definitely get that book. But yeah, I started at like 18, 19 years old. And it started because growing up, like much of my, I don't know, like first third of my life, first half of my life, I don't know. I didn't like my body. I really didn't. I didn't like myself and I didn't like my body. So, a lot of people haven't seen me in person. I'm 5'3". I'm really short. I got made fun of growing up. You can imagine elementary school, middle school was the worst. Oh my gosh. Oh, yeah. I got name called, I got bullied, and I didn't like that. I didn't love myself. And what that does is, as a person, it creates like this negative tension in your body, right? Just feelings and tension, and man, like it can be very painful if you really believe that you're less than. And so I read this book when I was 18. It's called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. Beautiful book. And it's just it's a very spiritual book. And it's just about, hey, being in the present moment. There's nothing really exists except right now. Everything is happening right now. And any worries or anything like that you have in the past and any anxieties about the future, and really the present moment is full of bliss, right? And it got me thinking, and I started really reading a lot of these books and thinking and going, wait a minute, hold on. Like, I'm whole. There's nothing wrong or missing from me, right? I'm whole. And interestingly enough, once I learned to love myself, I learned to love other people. Right? I really wasn't. I don't think I was the kindest or best person. I wasn't the best version of myself when I didn't really love myself. When I learned to really accept and love myself as if, I'm my own best friend, and talk to myself like I'm a really, really good friend, right? I wouldn't, man, the things I used to say to myself, I would never, ever talk to anybody like that.
Same. I think you probably saw, I posted about it like last week. I mean, that's really when I started doing the development as well, because, okay, we're different. I'm tall for a woman. I'm 5'9", but like
Mhm.
I'm a pasty redhead. You know, I used to get South Park. Man, South Park set me up for failure with the gingers having them souls. I
Oh,
mean, I just got destroyed in middle school. So, I mean, I can completely understand where you're coming from.
yeah.
I really didn't focus on self development until the last few years, until my mid 20s, which is crazy. But you're absolutely right. I still see my therapist. I see my therapist, you know, biweekly,
Yeah.
and that is one of those things like we like love talking to other people. I love to build other people up because I want them to feel good about themselves. I'm always trying to
Yeah.
bring the joy into the room. And same thing. I was talking to myself like I was mean. I was really
Mhm.
mean to myself. And
Yeah.
you've got to like, would you ever say that to a partner? I know you're saying it like as you talk to yourself as a best friend, but like I think of it as what would I say to a partner? I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm a man, I'm a lover. I'm a hopeless romantic. I will get in there and I'm gonna love you. And I realized I need to start talking to myself more. I need to hug myself, love myself, say
Yeah.
that. And those are part of my affirmations now. And it's really helped me because digging in and just being like, wow, Caroline, like you're fat. Like, geez, it would be
Oh,
great if you know, all those just the mean things like you're just not good enough. Why can't you sit still and take a test like other people? Why
mm,
are you always, you know, chirping in? And it's just, I don't mean to. I want to get this point across because like, I think it's really imperative or I want to help. I love helping. And that's no good because you just start wearing yourself down.
mhm.
I don't know anybody else in this, if anybody else has ever felt like that, but like, oh my gosh, I would just feel crummy. And then I would sit and watch Netflix. And then it would be a never ending thing of,
Yeah.
well, you know what? I'm going to go feel good and I'm going to go buy something that I don't need. Man, I
Right.
love retail therapy.
Yeah.
Retail therapy, actually, I'm going to talk about some retail therapy later on here.
Uh-huh.
That's been good for me. But yeah, same thing. I would talk to myself really mean and it wasn't great. Negative thoughts
Mm,
are just going to lead down a negative road. So continue on though. But I just wanted to chime in like same been there. I think all of us are harsh on
yeah.
ourselves more than we are anybody else. So
Right. Well, so it took me I want to say like almost 10 years. 10 years of just dissecting thoughts and thinking patterns and things like that of like, you know, self-talk and how I treat myself and talk to myself. And once I talk to myself with respect, I noticed I talk to other people with more respect, right? Anybody, right? And it
mhm.
was interesting. It was like I noticed that like things I didn't like in other people were a reflection of things I didn't like about myself,
Yes.
right? And
Hmm.
so like there was a quote I read somewhere. I don't remember who said it, but it was something like true humility. Oh man, it was something. It was so good. It was so good. It was like self-esteem is the greatest form of um I
You
can't remember.
bring
I
you bringing
have
that up. The chapter I'm on right now in the Miracle
yeah.
Morning, literally was just talking about self-esteem. I'm
Yeah.
not kidding. Like 3 pages ago, right here. How is your self? I like look at all the stuff I've highlighted in here. So that is so huge. So I'm gonna read from this
Yeah,
chapter.
dude, please do.
How is your self-esteem doing? So this little paragraph is sectioned. As an American playwright, August Wilson suggested confront the darkest parts of yourself and work to banish them with illumination and forgiveness. Your willingness to wrestle with your demons will cause your angels to sing. Self-esteem gives you the courage to try new things and the power to believe in yourself. Guys, we've got to work on our self-esteem. If we're constantly just talking to ourselves in a negative aspect, we're going to be putting ourselves down constantly. So one thing that I'm actually going to start doing a little bit more, and I've been adding into my journal, just like one prompt is who do I need to really connect with today? And actually on Saturday and Sunday, it's me. Like
Hmm.
these are the 2 days that I'm really trying to just like kick back and relax because during the week we're so busy. We start so early. You get up, I have to do things in a time crunch. Whereas Saturday and Sunday, I get to hike this morning. You're like, what time should we record? I'm like, let me hike and ease my way back
Yeah.
into the day and let's make this recording happen. But a negative attitude is going to get you nowhere. When you're confident in your abilities and committed to consistency, your behavior will change and your success is inevitable. So there's another little part that I highlighted, but being negative does nothing, and self-esteem and building yourself up, it's only going to help you feel better about yourself, and you're going to produce more. You're going to be kinder to more people, which is going to create more relationships. And as we know, your network is your net worth. You're going to have more opportunities coming your way. And, I think the last episode we recorded, or maybe 2 episodes ago, you had just gotten off the phone with a private money lender that you locked up $100,000 to do more, like to buy more properties, buy more Airbnbs, and to do more flips. And that's because, like, Munif, you are your greatest product. Like, investing, like you said it on my post on Instagram. I think it was like, start investing in yourself. You're the safest bet. Or it might have been Marlon. But anyways, people want to work with you because you have ethics. You're a great person to ask questions to. You're very open. I think that's what's so great about the both of us. We're pretty vulnerable and we just share what's going on. And that's relatable. And when you're your authentic self, other people can relate to that, and they see themselves in you, and they want to be your friend, and they want to work with you. And I think that's why you did so great on the Closers Olympics. We've talked about this time and again and again. You want to sound like a friend when you're talking to people. And when you talk to yourself like a friend or like you would a partner, you're going to feel better about yourself, and you're going to produce because you're feeling optimistic about the day. So I know I keep chiming in here. I apologize, but same thing. You give me a great idea, I give you a great idea, and I just wanted to share that. And I thought that was a good little expert when we're talking about self-esteem.
I love that. Yeah. So, I mean, there's it's interesting, right? So there's a book I really like. It's called 12 Rules for Life by Jordan Peterson. So like throughout different stages of my life, there's just different books that had different impacts on me. And one of the things this book said, it talks about like a lot of people, like, they're medicated on stuff like, prescription meds, and they don't take their medicine, and they should. Like they have some kind of condition, some kind of medical condition, and they just don't take it. They're not really rigorous about their medication. And it's a big problem in the healthcare industry where they're like, the doctors are like, man, like my patients just don't take their medicines. Like if they took their medicines, they'd really be improving. But imagine their dog. If let's say they have a dog or cat, and their dog or cat's sick, and their vet prescribes them medicine, they make sure that their pets are taking their medicine. And he talks about like, what is it like we would, do so much for our dogs or our cats, and we would make sure they're taking their medicine, but we wouldn't do it for ourselves. And it's very heartbreaking that we just don't love ourselves on that deep fundamental level. And like, what would it take to love yourself like that, where you really care about yourself, right? Just like you love your dog or your cat.
That's, I think that's great. And that brings something to mind. So we both just got out of relationships.
Yeah.
I'm still single. I don't know if you're still single, but I'm still single. And, it was one of the things I was in a pretty serious relationship in Florida before I moved to Arizona. And I thought I was going to be with that person the rest of my life. And then I got here, and we broke up, things were not working well. And I got here, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to move to Arizona, and I'm going to focus on my career. I'm going to focus on me. And it comes back into like, another one of my goals for the year, just to recap, is boundaries. I found out that I have a hard time setting boundaries. I think it might be just something that women go through. We're just constantly trying to make people feel comfortable. I'm a nourisher. I'm the oldest of 4 girls. I was kind of like my little sisters were like, yeah, you're like a mom to me. Like there's like for Christmas, I was like, oh my gosh, one of my sisters is coming into town. Like I went to Costco, I got all of the things. I was ready. I had all of the food. Like I got gifts. Like, I want to make it like memorable. And I'm always thinking of other people before I think of myself. And again, my cup would run empty, and I wasn't being the best version of myself. And something that I don't want to be in a relationship right now. If something happens and it works out, that's great. But I really want to focus on my boundaries and creating something that's safe and healthy for me, because I don't know about you, but whenever I would get in a relationship, I would just throw myself into the relationship, whatever I can do for that person. And I'm constantly putting them before myself. And what would happen, like 6 months into the relationship, 8 months into the relationship, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm burnt out. Like I can't keep this. This is not healthy. And that was honestly one of the reasons why my like big relationship I had before I moved here didn't work out. I felt like I was suffocating, and that's not fair to my partners, and that's not fair to me. And when you love, and I didn't really love myself. I was insecure again. I was just like, wow, like you're not where you want to be. Like, you're not making enough money. You thought you'd have all of this. Like, you're just putting on the like, I felt like I had imposter syndrome. I felt like I was like letting everybody think, social media makes you believe, oh my gosh, look how great Caroline's life is. Look at Munif. Like, wow, that dude just won the Closers Olympics. Lo and behold, a month and a half before that, you just had a really rough breakup nobody knew about. Like, we only show the good sides of ourselves on social media, and social media is so like fake in that aspect. And I'm trying to, like, for me, Instagram is my journal, and I get to see where I was in that part of my life. And like, I'm trying to like make content that Caroline would have liked 10 years ago and would have resonated with her. But I think that is just such a good point of, you've got to love yourself first and pour into yourself before we can ever get in a really serious relationship with somebody else, or like a partnership. Like, talking about business, like, you want to make sure that if you're going to work with somebody, they're as ethical as you, and they are,
100%.
like we've talked about, like, there is something that's happened. I was like, whoo, dodged a bullet there.
Right.
Just being aware of, you need to bring I want to bring the best version of me to the table, and like a personal, like a romantic relationship and a business relationship. Like, and I want to make sure that somebody is on the back end as well. So I think this is just something that I've tinkered around with. I know the 75 hard is not for everybody. Okay. It can be daunting. It can seem, I don't know, for those of you that are watching us right now, and listening in, but like, some people are not doing a 75 hard, and you're probably seeing like, oh my gosh, Caroline's, like, I had somebody say, you're so disciplined. I want to be more like you. And I'm like, I'm trying to be disciplined. If you would have got me like last year, no, I would not be where I am now. And it's through consistent action. And I know that completing this and making myself uncomfortable is going to make me grow. And I feel better about myself. My self-esteem is higher. I'm not anxious. Like, guys, I used to be one big anxious stress ball. And I'm not, I mean, I still struggle with bouts of depression every once in a while. I'm like, God, why did that happen? And I'm like, you know what? I'll let myself be sad about it for 5 minutes, and then I'm going to go do some type of physical activity, or I'll reach out to somebody. I'll get on the phone with them. Hey, what are you doing? What do you need? How can I help elevate you? But if you're not interested in doing the 75 hard, I highly recommend, this is actually what I'm going to say, if I ever get anybody, when I build out a team and I want people to work with me, I want to see where they're at. I'm going to ask them to do the Miracle Morning for 30 days. The Miracle Morning.
I love that.
I think that you'll really see, because that's going to get them to open up and see where they need to be. Like, where are your weaknesses? And I was talking about visualizations with Marlon, and I know we talked about this the last episode, but gosh, so much growth in me just sitting alone with my thoughts and like bouncing ideas off of myself. And I know that we do a great job of like feeding off of each other and having growth. Like, imagine if you can be alone with your thoughts for just starting out 5 minutes. And whenever you get off task, you come back and you just focus on your breathing and what's most important to you. Because with ADHD, sitting still and focusing on my goals and what I want to accomplish this year, that sounds like 5 minutes with just my thoughts. I'm going to have at least 10,000 thoughts going through my brain at a time. Wow, what should I have for lunch after this? What's in the smoothie that I'm drinking right now? Oh my gosh, I need to start the laundry, blah, 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 all of those things. And I just bring it back. I don't have to rush. I can slow down. And I'm actually slowing down how I'm talking right now, because I realize my thoughts are going so quickly. I'll keep up with the pace of my thought process. So I think that's really huge. Love yourself, fill your cup up, do the personal development for you. And there was a comment up here earlier. What can you dig in? I can't remember exactly what it said, but can you kind of talk about what you guys are doing for personal development?
Yeah. Let me see if I can.
So what are you doing for personal development? Like, what is personal development and why does it matter?
That's a really good question. So let's break down and dissect what is personal development. Well, so I used to think personal development is just, hey, I gotta work out every day. I gotta eat clean. I gotta meditate. I gotta do this and that. And like, I don't know if you're on TikTok. I think you are, Caroline, but some of the people watching, I don't know if you're on TikTok, but you see those like people, some TikTokers ironically or unironically show like a day in the life of a, top 1% law student or top 1% business person. They're like waking up at like 4 a.m. and making the smoothie shake and then working out and doing this and this and this and this and this. And it's like, holy crap. Like, I got to do that. Like, if I'm doing that, then I'm doing personal development. And the answer is no, that's actually not right. Personal development is number one, learning who you are, learning more about yourself. Like, hey, who am I? What are my core values? What do I like? What do I dislike? What's fun for me? What's joy for me? What's not fun for me? What's not joy for me? And then number 2 is, who do I want to become? What kind of person do I want to be? This potential self. Who is that person? Number 3 is why. What are the reasons? You can't just say, oh, I want to be this really strong,
Vague. You can't be vague about it.
Right. And but let's say you get down, it's like, well, why? What's your motivations behind it? Because if it's, let's say the motivations are coming from a place of self-hate, right? Like, oh, I'm really insecure about my biceps. Man, if I just had bigger biceps, everyone would love me more, right? It's like, well, then maybe like going to the gym and getting bigger biceps, that could be self-development, but is it really coming from a place of authenticity? Is it really coming from a place of love, right? And no, it's not. So it's like, why do I want to be that person? And once those things are really aligned and you're really coming from a place of depth and love, right, self-love and love of others, and you align those things up, then it's doing those things. And you might find that it might not mean waking up at 5 a.m. and running 10 miles. It might mean, hey, when my mom calls, I actually answer the phone, and talk to my mom for 5 minutes, because I value having a relationship with my mom and talking to my mom for at least maybe 5 minutes a day. Maybe it turns into, hey, I love amazing food. I love, Southern comfort food. It's so important to me that it's part of my life, but I also want to feel energetic and eat a certain way so I have energy, and I don't have like certain kind of medical conditions. So I'll eat balanced. Maybe one day a week, I'll have my Southern comfort food. Right. So that is self-development, at least to me. It's not living this ideal life that someone else is living. It's figuring out what's ideal for you.
I think that's big. And guys, you've got to keep the end in mind. And I actually, when I spoke with my therapist last time, she's like, I joke with her. I have really great rapport with my therapist, but I was just like, she had to cancel on me the session before she ended up getting sick. And we had to cancel the one before that and just move the schedule around a little bit. She's like, I was planning on taking this day off. Can we move? But jokingly, she's like, yeah, well, soon you probably won't need me if you're getting the hang of everything. I'm like, are you trying to get rid of me? Like, what is this? Like, well, the end goal is for you to not to see me anymore. And I'm like, gosh, I want to just keep like growing and developing. She's like, well, what do you want to work on? And if you don't have something in mind on what you're struggling with, you can't come to that realization. So again, I've just been focusing a ton on, where do I need to like work on me? What am I missing? Why do I not feel complete? Why am I looking for why am I looking for validation from others? Like that was something that was really big for me. Like, again, going back to social media, I was just like, okay, well, if I get likes on my Instagram post, that means I'm popular. Whereas it's just like selfies. I mean, if you look at my Instagram now, there's like very rarely a selfie on there, but I want like my message, I want to resonate. So keep the end in mind, whatever you guys want to work on, you want to have better relationships with people. Okay. So how do you need to do that? Bring value to them. Reach out to Munif and be like, listen, dude, like, I love your message. I love what you're doing. I see that you're buying Airbnbs. I see you're doing all this. I want to get a peek behind the curtain. I have some private money that I have some money that's sitting in the bank making nothing. I'd love to work with you, or whatever it may be. But like, I would challenge everybody, if you're uncomfortable or you're not where you want to be, and like, you're like, gosh, I'm, again, 75 hard. I did because I was tired all the time. I had no energy and I was addicted to sugar. Yeah. I don't want to be somebody who is not like active for my life. I don't want to just exist. I want to live it, and that was another conversation. Munif, I really want us to go skiing or snowboarding or something.
We're going to do it this year. We're going to do it.
I know. I want to make it happen. And it was, I was talking to Marlon and he was like, yeah, I don't know. Cause he moved out here from New York and he was actually, his car was broken into and they stole a snowboard. They stole about like $3,000 worth, a whole bunch of his like recruiting equipment and things. And he's like, maybe that's a sign. Like, I just need to like put my nose down and grind. And I was, I've done that where I'm just going to like, embrace the suck. Like I'm going to just bust it out. I'm going to get everything that I need to done. And if there's time left over, I'm going to do something nice for me. And I've changed that thought process a little bit. I want to go skiing. I want to go enjoy that. I want to go hang out. I love Colorado. I wish I lived. I love being out in the mountains. And I'm not going to do anything super elaborate, but I want to get like a group of us together to go ski and give myself a taste of like, look, you've worked hard, you've busted your butt, like you should have a mini vacation and enjoy this, and give myself, it's like a teaser. Give myself a tease of like, if you are consistent and you get some passive income and you get some more rentals, next time you can get a nicer place. Maybe you can get like you can go out and have a few nicer dinners instead of just like eating, you know, we'd always, instead of going out to eat when you're out there, you're like, buy all the groceries and you cook your food and stuff. Like, I don't want to worry about that. So focusing on like, what are your goals? Where do you want to develop? I think that is huge. Thinking, what do I want to work on for me? What do I not like about myself? Okay. Why do I not like that about myself?
Mm-hmm.
Why do I need validation from others? Okay. Mm-hmm. And another thing, like I was getting a little muffin top there for a minute and I didn't like sitting and then oh my gosh, I can feel a little fat roll. I didn't like that. And you know what? That was coming through. Like I felt like I did not like my body. I didn't like the skin I was in, and like being insecure is not fun, you know?
Right.
It's not fun being called the short person all the time. I think in middle school, it's actually when I finally grew. I was always one of the smallest people in my grade too. Yeah, I was short. And then in middle school, poof, I was always the shortest cousin. I'm now the tallest cousin. Pretty nice. I'm on the side of my family, so for the girls. But yeah, it's what do you not like and why don't you like it is what I'd say, guys. And then start like creating a routine. Start being consistent in whatever you're doing, and you will see it's not going to be overnight, okay? It's not going to be, okay, I've done this for 5 days. Where's the change? You've got to have the discipline to really want that. You like, for me, I hit rock bottom in 2020. Like I had like no money. My relationship had ended that I thought was going to last. My small business caught on fire. You name it. The COVID happened. Everything happened. And I'm finally like practicing gratitudes and going through my affirmations and just like knowing through this consistency, I'm feeling better about myself. So wherever you guys are at in your journey, I'd just say, what do you not like? And then what do I need to do to change it? I personally think that's going to be huge. And talk to a therapist. Like,
I think everyone should. I think everyone should have some kind of a counselor or a therapist or coach or something like that. 100%.
Yeah. Got to talk to a therapist. So I think that's really huge. So we've talked about where you were insecure with your size and your body. Right. How are you feeling now, man? Where are you since you've been doing this longer than I have? I mean, my personal development's been the last year and a half.
Oh, I remember the quote I was trying to say.
Okay, let's hear it.
True love of others is actually self-love. So like you really can't love somebody else unless you can love yourself first. So when you're going around and you really hate yourself and you're going around trying to make friends or have a relationship or anybody just oh man, that person's so cool. It's like if you actually don't come from a place of self-esteem and self-love, that quote unquote admiration or love you have for somebody else is actually tarnished. Right. So you ask, where am I now? Well, like, look, I sometimes I sleep in. Sometimes I like to just chill, sit on my couch and go, right. I used to be so hard on myself about that stuff. I used to be so hard. And it's like, now I'm like, hey buddy, like you worked really hard this week. You need a break. Like is this how you want to spend your break? Like, is this how you want? And I'll like think about it and go, yeah, actually, yeah, I do. And then like removing the guilt, removing the shame and going like, okay, let's just move stuff around. Let's put it here and let's do it. Let's make a promise to ourselves to do it. But let's actually enjoy this couch time, right? Instead of just like doing it and then kind of feeling slightly guilty. Yeah, like let's do it. Let's go all in. Let's enjoy that moment. But it doesn't mean now the time comes to do work and just giving yourself excuses. You can't do that either, right? If you really love yourself, you also hold yourself to a standard. Absolutely hold yourself to a standard, just like you should hold people around you to a standard. You should hold people around you, people you love, to a standard and say, hey, I love you. I can't let you do this. This is self-destructive. You can have that conversation with yourself too, right? So that's pretty much where I am at, where I can literally have a conversation with myself. And sometimes I do. Sometimes I'll just go, hey, look in the mirror or be in the shower and just talk out loud and go, hey man, what's on your mind? almost like literally do this. You might think I'm crazy, but it helps. There's something about like, okay, well, I'm worried about this, I'm worried about this, and I've been doing this, and just have a very honest conversation with myself. And sometimes I do that in the shower. It's quite silly, but it really helps. Caroline, you're muted, by the way.
I muted myself when I had to sneeze. Same thing. I would be really hard on myself. Like, oh my gosh, I'm wasting so much time like doing the scrolling on TikTok instead of like I should be like doing personal development. I should be like breaking down the seller call. I should be, offering my time to help somebody else. And that was one of the things my therapist actually said. She's like, that might be your brain like just telling you that it needs a break, and like you need to like. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, whatever. No, I don't. I don't need a break. Like I've had a break. I didn't get into this for years, and I was wasting so much time in my early 20s when I should have been focusing on this. And I also just read that too. Like write in, like do time blocks. Time block your day, and like you've said before, account for things going awry. Like they're not always going to be perfect, but write in time when you can just like have fun and not really have anything that needs to go on. Write in a flexible section. Like I have time to do whatever the heck I want. So I want to transition here because I want to talk about the 75 hard for a moment and what I've done differently. I don't think I've really told you much about this. You might have seen me post about it, but I bought. I think I told you I bought an Oculus, that virtual reality headset.
Oh my god! So Matt Reichard, who's in here, I think, he was over yesterday. He's one of my business partners, and he brought his Oculus. And it's so funny. He goes, Munif isn't single. He's married to the game. Matt is so funny.
Married to the game.
Married to the game. So he brought his, and I've never done something like that before. So I made a little thing in my kitchen. I put it on. Oh my gosh. I think I'm going to buy one.
Buy one. So this is where I'm going to go into. Just to recap for everybody again, 75 hard. I felt like I was going nowhere. I'd been investing. I really hadn't done a ton, made what I wanted for a year and like a month. And I'm like, gosh, why am I not a millionaire yet? And I realized I was filling up everybody else's cup first. I was not focusing on me and doing what, changing my schedule, my routine. I was getting into, instead of like really working like on my own business, when I was done with my W-2, I was like, well, I've given myself to everybody else for the day. It's time to watch Netflix and maybe have some pizza, or you know what, I'm going to order some takeout, whatever it can be. But that's why I did the 75 hard. And we've talked about that in other episodes. I'll let you guys listen to that. But I got this Oculus. So here's my headset right here. It's pretty dope. It's pretty sick. And you get these sweet little like controllers. I'm going to hold one up, but
I love it.
Your hands. Now, you need to get one. And this is for everybody listening. At first, I actually was thinking about it the other day. I was like, man, I really haven't played with it much since, because I had a week off. I had some PTO, and I bought it, and I splurged on myself. I haven't really bought, like, the most expensive thing I bought myself is this bed behind me. Like, that's the most money I've spent on myself in the last, I don't know, decade. And I had this time off, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna like splurge on myself. I have a week. I'm not gonna do any work, because that's all I've done for the last. I actually don't know the last time I've had a week off where I've not done any work in my adult life, because I've always like done something. Well, and I feel more refreshed. I've come back into work. I'm enjoying it. I'm passionate about it because I'm getting burnt out. It's like constantly giving to other people. And sometimes, as we've seen, sometimes people are not as grateful when you give them your time. And you're like, gosh, man, that kind of stunk that I helped you out and you just.
Oh, that's I think that's a challenge. That's like, that sucks, right? When you're like, going out of your way to help somebody, and then they, not only are they not grateful, they're like upset. Maybe they wanted more help, and they're like, "What are you doing?"
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, you meet people like that, and it's easy. And I find myself all the time. This is something I struggle with. I'm like, "Oh, I don't like this person." Right? And it's like, well, am I really doing them justice by rewarding this behavior? Because they're going to be thinking that this is how they should go around in life, and that's not good. They're not going to really get the help they need, right? So, like, part of me would, and this is Noah Hoffman, Noah. He gets a lot of this too, because like he's the Airbnb guy, and we've talked about this, and people are like, "Hey, can you comp this for me? Can you do this for me? Can you analyze this for me?" And he feels like,
hey, why are you taking so long to get this back to me? Where are you at on my numbers?
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's the tough. And so he wants to give back so much to the community. He's got his business to run. He's got multiple businesses, but he wants to give back. So his form of giving back would be to go and say, hey, yeah, hello, stranger that we never met and you didn't really introduce yourself to me properly. Sure, I'll help you. And and then he gets that and he goes, oh, this feels good. I don't like this person. And then, whatever. And I'm like, no, you can't reward that kind of behavior. We have to help people understand how to ask for help. Right. And so it's like, what I do now is I say, hey, jump on one of my Twitches and then ask your question. And then now when I answer it, we're answering it for 50, 60, 70 people, or, over time might be 300, 400 people who might have that same question. Right.
Mhm.
That's how we can have a dialogue. But yeah, like, I don't like rewarding that kind of behavior. It sends the wrong message. It's not fair to people who have been kind to me, have given me value, and maybe they want a phone call or have some questions, and I'm not really on the phone with them. I'm on the phone with somebody else who's not really doing it appropriately.
Yeah, no, 100%. And you're just giving, and everybody's just taking, and it's not working out for you. So I got into the 75 hard to get better for myself. I wanted to improve my confidence. I wanted to improve my self-esteem. I wanted to feel better about myself, and I wanted to have more energy. I'm going to get back over into this Oculus because I want to tell you guys about it.
Tell me about the Oculus. I'm excited.
I'm about to drop this link in here for you guys. So get the Oculus, and I'm dropping the link in the chat here right now. It's called, there's Daniel Quijano told me about it. It's this app you can get called Supernatural.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, the TV show Supernatural, the one where they like are fighting, what are we talking about here? Mm-hmm. This is a workout program. So you have like personal trainers in there. So they have like boxing. I'm just trying to turn on right now. They have boxing. They have kind of like this dance thing where you have like baseball bats, kind of like Beat Saber, stretching, meditation, things like that. They have good music, and it's like you can do like a monthly subscription or an annual subscription. Right now I'm in like a 14-day free trial. Dude, I am actually, as soon as we're done with this podcast, I'm going to play on it because I love it. I've gotten the most work. I'm going to have abs before May. Like, that was one of my things. And guys, I'm not like, I need to be like super skinny on abs. Like, if I get abs, it means I'm eating well, I'm being healthy, I'm getting all these things. But my core has been really weak. And my back's actually been bothering me for the last week because I hadn't really been doing as much core work as I should have. And it's fun. Like, I have so much fun playing this. Every time somebody comes over, I'm like, dude, try my Oculus out. Like, you've got to play this game on here. So if you're like uncomfortable going to the gym and you don't want to be like out in public and like letting people, like, I know some people are weird about working out in front of other people. Get this and pour into yourself and do these workouts. It's a blast. My sister at first was like, video games are dumb, and then she put it on. She's like, okay, this is really cool, actually. She's like, now we have like a little competition because you can like see each other's points. I have like about 3,000 points because I've been like working out consistently. But it's last night I did 2 boxing workouts and a stretching cool down. 45 minutes, I burned 600 calories.
Wow.
And yeah, it is. I mean, I'm telling you, I have no back pain right now. I'm really focusing on your core. And the cool thing is, like, I'll forget things. Like, if you walk me, like, I remember the first time I went to a hot yoga class. This guy, like, the instructor was running through it, and he, like, I guess assumed all of us had been in yoga forever, which I've never done yoga classes like that. And he'd explain something, and I'd forget to breathe sometimes, or I'd forget to like tighten my core. And they give you like little reminders in your ear. Like, they'll play like cool music, whatever you'd like, and they'll be like, hey guys, I know that you're getting tired now. Make sure that you're bending your knees, because they'll have sections where you have to dip, dive, duck, and dodge, and you do your left, right, and jab, hook. It's a lot of fun. So if anybody is like, I don't want to go to the gym, like, I know I won't be as consistent, get an Oculus Quest 2, I think that's what this is called, and get the Supernatural. I gave you the link for it. Check it out. 14-day free trial. I mean, it's amazing.
Supernatural is that?
Do it.
Oh, I'm
yeah.
Matt,
it's the app.
Matt says Manif is hooked on the Oculus now. I'm ordering mine right now. Actually, I'm on Amazon. I'm ordering.
Do it. Get it. Well, actually, hang on. Wait. Let me see if I can help you out, because I have a Costco membership. Maybe I can get it for you cheaper, because I got mine from Costco.
Okay.
So
okay.
So you guys know, Manif and I don't have any sponsors. We don't get paid for telling you guys to get these books or anything. But check these. If I find something that I like, I'm going to tell everybody about it. That's why I'm like, let's make a podcast. Let's talk about 75 Hard. Let's talk about this personal development, because I don't know about you, Manif, but I have people all the time. They're like, Caroline, I Thank you for like, I would have never guessed that you talked to a therapist. Thank you for talking about it and making it normal. Like that I would have never related to that. Oh my gosh, like you struggle with depression too? That's so like I struggle with depression. So anything that we say on our podcast or any of the episodes, it's like because it's been helpful for us and we want to help you guys cut down the learning curve. That's a perk of joining a mentorship. Like you're a mentor. If you ever get a mentor, guys, your mentor should be cutting down your learning curve. He's already done all the mistakes. That's what a mentor's for. And that's bringing me back to another ADD thought. Somebody said earlier, how do you vet potential partners? This is something that I've been saying. If whoever you want to work with in real estate, okay, there's these HUD statements. So it's basically a receipt, a transaction receipt that you've done something. If you're working with somebody and they're like, yeah, I'm closing all these deals. If they don't have HUDs, they're a dud. Ask them for HUDs. That's my little phrase. If they don't have HUDs, they're a dud. Make sure that they're putting their money where their mouth is. And that's something that I had not done with somebody I was going to work with. I almost like quit my W-2 because this person told me that I had so much potential to make, like, I would be in charge of myself. They wouldn't be like micromanaging me. I'd be able to do whatever I wanted. And it just came down to, you know, whatever work you put in, you get out. And I was like, wow, I'm going to make like triple what I'm making now. And I'm my own boss and I can have my own team. Like, that's amazing. And then, you know, coming back to it, they were not really doing what they said they were doing. And we dodged a bullet. So I think that's great. I just really wanted to touch on that. Like, guys, get the Oculus. So Munif, I'll help you out with that later. But that's my indoor workout. And actually the cool thing is I can take that outside and make that my outdoor workout wherever I want. And I'm still walking as one of my workouts. I know that you were like, I'm not going to do that. My big concern for me, if anybody's thinking of doing the 75 hard, I was just concerned I was going to mess my back up. I have, you know, a bad knee. I just don't want to like overdo it and then injure myself and not be able to complete the challenge. So I want to get down to, you know, for every, I don't know if you know this, but for every 1 pound you lose, that is 20 pounds of pressure off of your knees.
Whoa.
So,
what?
Yeah. Fun fact. But I tore my ACL in high school and I've always just been a little weary about my left knee. And I just want to make sure that I'm mobile and I want to get into stretching more. And we talked about David Goggins last time where he stretches 3 hours a day. So I'm always getting a stretch in there. But the physical, if you start taking care of your physical fitness, guys, you're going to have all of the endorphins. You're going to feel amazing. And you're going to start seeing changes consistently, like within a couple of weeks. And you're going to feel better. So I just wanted to chime in on the 75 hard, like, Neef, we got to get you an Oculus. You got to get the Supernatural app. Anybody else that has it right now, if your kids have it, take the app, take the game, the headset, whatever you want to call it, for the first thing in the morning. Do like 20 minutes on there, and you're like, wow, I feel great. It's awesome. So I had to touch on that.
I love that. Matt was telling me that he did the boxing, like 5 rounds of boxing, and he was just drenched in sweat. And I'm like, how?
There's another game. There's another game called Thrill of the Fight. It's $10. That one is exhausting because you're actually playing against somebody, and it's not over until you knock them out. Oh, I had to stop after 15 minutes because I'm
excited. I'm gonna order mine today. I'm so excited.
You're gonna love it. That's cool. Sorry. So I know you're talking about this, but I got us off topic here.
It's okay.
We're at 53 minutes. I want to bring us back into the whole point of this episode. So, guys, love yourself first. If you don't love yourself, like, why? What's going on that you're not loving yourself? What would you like to chime in on anything there for bringing in I'm gonna let you wrap it up, Munif, because I feel like I've been talking in the majority of this episode.
No, it's okay. So, guys, figure out who you are. Like all knowledge is self-knowledge. Figure out who you are. Figure out why you do the things you do and why you want to do the things you want to do. And then make a plan, and don't be a fascist about it and treat yourself like some kind of like prisoner in a jail or something, and where you're like, I'm going to do this and this. Like, figure out why, right? What will it do for you? And then try your best to live in those systems that you create. So on that note, I will say goodbye. Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. And you can catch us on Spotify. We are actually live on Spotify. So if you search, hey, what's your problem on Spotify, you can actually listen to our past recordings. So just want to leave you guys with that note. How about you, Caroline?
Yeah. The way I want to bring this home is, guys, I want to know, what are you going to work on this year? Okay.
Yeah.
It's easy to think I do need to love myself. I want to get abs. I want to do, $20,000 a month in transactions. I want to build out my business. I want to be a better partner. I want to be a better parent. Focus on one thing. And I bet everything else will pour into there. So I would say focus on yourself. And when you do focus on yourself, I'm really curious. Please let us know. What are you going to do to focus on yourself? What is one way you're going to love yourself more? Is it you're going to start eating food for the nutritional value? You're going to stop eating fried chicken every week because it tastes good doesn't mean it's actually good for you. I mean, Munif and I both love our Southern comfort food, but what are you going to do for you? How are you going to be a better version of yourself? And when you are actively trying to be a better version of yourself, it'll pour into other areas of your life. You'll have more opportunities open up. So I'm really curious, guys. Please let us know. You can leave a comment on Twitch. You can even, follow us on Instagram. These are our Instagram handles. Mine's the Caroline Kane, and then Munif's just Munif Saza, MUNIFSAZA. I hope you guys can figure my name's one of those boring American names, which is kind of easy to spell. But, guys, how are you going to focus on yourself? What would you tell the younger version of you? How are you going to make yourself better? Are you getting closer to what your goals are? So I'm really curious. That's what I'd like to know. And please, guys, if there's anything that really interests you, I think we're going to start bringing up some special guests eventually. We'd love to bring content that is valuable. Again, we're just trying to bring value here. So value, value, value. Munif, thanks for doing this. I'll talk to you guys next week.
Thank you, Caroline.
Bye, Munif. Bye, everybody.